doing a series of paintings copying Monet, which is how a lot of artists learn. And in this video I'm going to be painting his tulips. His is on the left, mine is on the right. Mine actually does slightly need some more work, but sometimes you only work these things out when you think you finished a painting and you come back and look at it again. I'm not going to talk all the way through, but let's just get started anyway. I'm just using a really cheap bog standard canvas from the bargain store, and I have set up my colour palette, and I'm going to now just sketch in the composition and where I want the painting to sit on the canvas. And these are the colours I'm using. You can use other colours. I just use these because I had them handy, and you know, I mixed whatever I didn't have with these colours. So I mixed sort of the blue with the Indian red and the cadmium red to make a darker colour. But you know, if you want to buy different colours to do this painting, or you know, whatever, that's up to you. It's entirely up to you. You just, you know, it's not an exact science painting. As long as you ultimately get to the right colour, a colour that you find satisfying, then it doesn't really matter what palette you start off with, but you just have to know a little bit about how to mix them. I mean, I'm waffling on way too much about this, but I just wanted to say that this wasn't the perfect starting palette. This was just what I had handy when I started this painting. So, I mean, I avoid black when I'm doing impressionistic paintings because it's too dark for these kind of, especially Monet paintings. I'm not sure if he ever did use black, but I don't think he used it in most of his paintings. So if you were to put just a dead black on here, it would stand out, you know, it'd catch the eye, and it wouldn't be harmonious with the rest of the painting. So the way I darken it is to just use a mixture of sort of blues and reds, and you know, you get that kind of, sometimes if you get a bit of a muddy colour, I'll add a bit of blue and red to that as well, and just to get the darker hues, and you know, to add a bit of blue and red to green, for instance, to make it very dark and intense. So just a note on that, really. So as you can see, I'm just blocking in now the most significant eye-catching colour blocks. So that's just to give me a key. It's a bit like a puzzle. I'm just putting in now bits that are really easy, if you like, for the eye, and then I can work on the subtleties and the details later. But it's just much easier to go with these bigger blocks of colour as you go along. And then, you know, the background, of course. Now, I noticed that when I did this background, I was so keen to get this painting done for you that I meant to add other subtle colours into this background so that it wouldn't be flat. But I did actually forget. But if you notice on Monet's actual painting, you can see hues of pink and yellow, which I had meant to go back and add. But I did actually forget during the course of this painting, because I don't want my paintings to run on forever when I'm doing demonstrations and to bore you. But just bear that in mind. That was one of the things I noticed when I came back to the painting the next day. I thought, I forgot about that. So I may refine it later. Again, adding more blocks of the most obvious colours. And it encourages you then as well, when you can start to see it taking shape like this. You feel like you're moving forward, and you know, you're covering the canvas, and that feels good. I'm not going to talk all the way through this video. I'll probably just leave it to run now, and you can just watch at your leisure, have it on in the background, make a cup of coffee. I wish I'd done it at a slightly better angle for you. I'm still working that out because I've moved out of my art studio, as I'm just not finding it. I'm just not finding I paint that much when I have to sort of force myself to go out there. So I've sort of commandeered this cozy little room in my house, which nobody really uses that often, and I haven't quite set it up quite right yet. So anyway, just on a side note, if you want to get involved in painting Monet and just get to know the arts more intimately and more generally, then I have done a Monet colouring book so that you can create this kind of effect with colouring pencils in a colouring book. This means, of course, that you can get to know the strokes, because you can actually do a very good effort with colouring pencils rather than oil paints, because of the way that Monet paints in these kind of streaky up and down strokes. You can really achieve that very, very effectively with coloured pencils. So I have actually done a colouring book specifically for Monet. I've also got a Renoir and a Van Gogh one coming out. And this means that, of course, you don't have to have a huge investment in oil paints and canvases and all this kind of stuff. Just see if you have a go, build up your confidence a little, and then you can pretty much transfer your technique into then oil. It's just something you can have around. It's like a coffee table book. It's A4 size. I'm doing a hardback version with all the artists in. Really nice coffee table book, and you can just sit there, and when you put a film on in the evening and you come home, rather than getting all your oil paints out, you can just sit there and you can just colour away. And there will be a coloured version of his painting, and then my illustrated black and white version, where I've actually drawn and illustrated each of his paintings so that you can colour it in. And I've done that with pen and an ink pen rather. And then of course you can use the coloured painting version on the opposing page as your reference when you're colouring in, so you don't have to go and find a reference picture or anything like that. It's all going to be there for you. Alright, so let's get back to this painting, which features actually in my colouring book actually. It's one of the pictures in there that you can colour in. And now that I've done the major shapes, I'm really looking now at the contrast between the lights and the darks. And I have to say that when I looked at this picture, after a period of I left it, thought I'd finished it, left it, came back to it, and I could see instantly that I did not have the depth to the darks that I needed, providing that nice deep contrast that Monet has there on the left. So that is something I will work on at a later date. But you can get your painting to almost finished, but it always, I think, is a good idea to step away for overnight at least, have a good sleep on it, and come back with a fresh eye in the morning, because you just get too up close. And I definitely did that with this painting. I was getting too close to it. I'd been at it for quite a while. I was also quite tired. I was doing it late at night. So just bear that in mind. I am aware that I could have done with making the darks darker, and I will work on that. But that's where we're at now, is we're just working at the smaller shapes inside the larger shapes, excuse me, and refining the colours and the nuances in the colours and the lighter areas. So I mean, I'm just going to keep now tinkering with this, refining and reviewing until I'm happy with it, or until you get to a point like I did when I was just actually too tired. And I'm going to leave some music up now. If you don't want music, obviously you can just mute it, but I'm just going to let it play at about twice the speed all the way through, because obviously some of you like to see how a painting is done start to finish, how you go through that process to the end. Monet's are this painting is obviously less, it's not realism, so you're not looking at those complicated transitions that you are in other paintings. It's very subtle, and it's very hard work, labor intensive. Those transitions that take a lot longer to achieve, and we don't have that with this painting. It almost looks like a pastel painting, I think, so which is why I say it's good for the colouring books, because I think with good quality colouring pencils you can really get a good effect with those when you're colouring in a Monet painting. Anyway, as I say, no more waffle. I'm just going to leave this to play out. If you do have any questions, I've got another Monet painting coming of the irises, which was on the cover of the Monet colouring book. I'm doing that one, and yeah, if you want to ask any questions in this, I will answer them in my next video, which I'm just editing at the moment. It's already painted, I just need to edit the video, so you can let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to leave you to play out with some music, and this video's got about another 20 minutes to go to be complete, so you can fast forward or pause, or whatever, jump to the bits that you find most interesting, whatever you like. Grab a coffee, just sit down and relax, and have a podcast on in the background while you're watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Maybe I should do some of my short stories. Maybe I should read them while I'm painting, and then you can listen to those while watching me paint. Interesting. Okay, all right, well, that's it. I'm going to play you out with some music. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button, notification bell, and if you have any painter friends, obviously share this with them also. And I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Alright, I'll throw you up a comparison now, and just a reminder that I'm going to go back and restate those darks and add a bit of colour into the back, but this is what we have. Nice impasto texture there, which I absolutely love on a painting. And you know, not bad with the cheap old canvas and a couple of hours of my time. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.